In the heart of a quaint, fog-shrouded town lay Milford Academy, an institution as ancient as the secrets it harbored. Central to its lore were the lifelike statues of its founders, perched ominously at the entrance of the main hall. These figures, carved from stone centuries ago, were said to embody the spirits of those who had laid the first stones of the academy. As generations of students passed through its hallowed halls, a chilling tale took root, one that whispered of the statue's eerie reawakening once the sun dipped below the horizon. The story begins with a new transfer student, Eli, whose skepticism led him to mock the tales that had become a rite of passage for the freshmen. Drawn to the thrill of the forbidden, he vowed to unveil the truth behind the legends. As nightfall enveloped the academy, Eli, armed with nothing but a flashlight and his waning bravado, set out to confront the heart of the myth. The night was unusually silent, as if the very air awaited his trespass. The statues stood motionless, their expressions frozen in an eternal gaze that seemed to pierce through the darkness. Eli's steps echoed through the empty corridors, a stark reminder of his solitude. It wasn't until he turned his back to the statues that he felt it, a prickling sensation, as if he were being watched. The flashlight flickered, casting shadows that danced along the walls. And then, silence. The air grew colder, denser, as if breathing had become a task meant for the living alone. Eli spun around, his heart racing, only to find the statues unmoved. A sigh of relief escaped his lips, cut short by the sound of stone grinding against stone. In a frozen moment of terror, Eli realized the statues had indeed moved, their positions subtly altered, their stony gazes now fixated directly on him. The legends hadn't been mere tales, they were warnings. As fear threatened to root him to the spot, Eli's survival instincts took over. He ran, the sound of his footsteps a frantic rhythm in the oppressive silence. But no matter how fast he moved, the sensation of being pursued lingered, always just a breath away. He dared not look back, for the legend spoke of the fate that befell those who gazed into the eyes of the statues after dark, a fate of being forever ensnared in stone, a silent sentinel in the legion of the forgotten. In his flight, Eli stumbled into the school's old library, a labyrinth of books and shadows. It was here that the climax of his nightmare would unfold. Amidst the towering shelves, he found the statues, not behind him, but waiting, as if they had anticipated his every move. Cornered, Eli's flashlight finally betrayed him, plunging the room into darkness. In the suffocating black, whispers filled the air, voices of the past that spoke of a curse laid upon the founders for a sin long buried in the academy's foundations. As dawn broke, Eli was nowhere to be found. The school stirred awake, oblivious to the night's horrors. Yet, at the entrance of the main hall, the statues stood, their stony expressions unchanged, save for one detail: a new figure had joined their ranks. Eli, with eyes wide with terror, now stood among them, a silent guardian bound to the curse of the living statues. And so, the legend grew, a chilling reminder of the price of curiosity and the truth that some secrets are best left in the shadows. For in the heart of Milford Academy, the statues watch, wait, and walk in the night, ever searching for the next soul to join their eternal vigil. In the heart of Antarctica's merciless expanse, a research team led by Dr. Emily Hart stumbled upon an anomaly buried deep within the ice, a find that would haunt their dreams and test their sanity. Miles from the nearest outpost, their drilling operation had broken through to an ancient cavern, revealing an entity encased in ice, its form neither human nor recognizable as any known earthly life. The entity was transported to their base for study, a decision that marked the beginning of their nightmare. As it thawed, the researchers were plagued by vivid, disturbing dreams of a dark, boundless ocean where no light dared to penetrate. These dreams were shared among the team, each describing the sensation of being called to the depths by an ancient, longing voice that knew them intimately. Dr. Hart, a rational scientist, initially dismissed the dreams as stress-induced hallucinations. However, the allure of the entity became an obsession. The team's behavior grew erratic. Members whispered of voices in the snow, compelling them to walk into the white void beyond their base point. One by one, they succumbed to the call. Disappearances in the night became frequent, footprints leading into the endless snow, never returning. Panic set in among the remaining members. Their scientific curiosity now turned to fear. In a desperate attempt to halt the madness, Dr. Hart ordered the entity to be reburied in the ice. But the night before the operation, she too dreamt of the dark ocean. Unlike the others, her dream revealed the entity's origin, a sentinel, placed on Earth to await the awakening of its kin, hidden in the ocean's abyss. Dr. Hart awoke with a purpose she could not resist. Ignoring her own orders, she ventured into the snow, drawn to a specific point where the ice was thin. As she walked, the ground beneath her gave way, plunging her into the frigid waters below. Instead of the death she expected, she found herself suspended in the vast, dark ocean of her dreams, facing the colossal forms of the entity's kin. As they awakened, she understood their purpose: to reclaim the Earth's oceans. Long before human dominion, the research team was never found, their base abandoned to the snow. Rescuers discovered Dr. Hart's diary, her final entry describing her dreams in chilling detail. The entity, however, remained lost, its location a secret kept by the Antarctic ice. The story of Dr. Hart and her team passed into legend, a cautionary tale of the mysteries that lie in wait beneath the ice, and of the ancient, unfathomable entities that dream of the world above, ready to emerge from the depths below. In the quaint town of Eldridge, nestled between the whispering pines and the murmuring brooks, there existed an anomaly that defied the serene landscape, a house abandoned for its eerie ambience, standing aloof at the edge of Willow Street. It was in this house that the story of the shadow on the ceiling unfolded, a tale that seeped into the nightmares of those who dared listen. The tale begins with the arrival of the Graham family, who, unbeknownst to the town's whispered warnings, decided to make the forsaken house their home. It was a charming fixer-upper in their eyes, with its Victorian architecture and a price too tempting to pass. But the house, as if sentient, had a chilling secret veiled under its beauty. The first few nights were uneventful, filled with the sounds of unpacking and the laughter of hope. But as they settled, an unsettling presence made itself known. It started with the peculiar, a cold spot in the middle of the hallway, objects slightly misplaced, and an ever-present feeling of being watched. These oddities were easy to dismiss until the night the shadow appeared. It was their youngest, Lily, who first noticed it, a dark, formless blotch on the ceiling of her room, vaguely humanoid, stretching its limbs in grotesque angles. It was motionless at first glance, yet every time Lily blinked or looked away, it seemed to twitch and crawl ever so slightly, never when she stared directly at it. Terrified, she confided in her parents, who chalked it up to an overactive imagination. But as nights progressed, the shadow grew bolder, its movements more frenetic, and its presence more menacing. No longer confined to Lily's room, the family started to observe it too, always in the periphery, a sinister dance of darkness that retreated under direct scrutiny. Desperate for answers, they turned to local lore and learned of the house's grim past, a tale of a man obsessed with the occult, who vanished without a trace, leaving behind tales of shadows come to life. Determined to rid themselves of this nightmare, the Grahams contacted a renowned paranormal investigator, Dr. Helena Forsyth, a woman with a history of confronting the inexplicable. Dr. Forsyth's investigation unveiled a chilling theory. The shadow was a manifestation of the house's tormented soul, trapped between realms, feeding on the fear of its inhabitants. The climax of this haunting tale occurred on a stormy night when Dr. Forsyth attempted to communicate with the shadow, using ancient rituals to coax it into revealing its desires. The house trembled with the force of unseen energies as the shadow swelled, enveloping the room in darkness, its form becoming more distinct, more terrifying. It was in this moment of sheer terror that the unexpected happened. The shadow spoke, its voice a cacophony of whispers, revealing not a desire to harm but a plea for release from its eternal torment. With newfound determination, Dr. Forsyth, alongside the Grahams, performed a ritual of liberation, battling not just the shadow but the very essence of the house. As dawn broke, the shadow dissipated, leaving behind a tranquility that the house hadn't known in decades. The Grahams, though shaken, decided to stay, turning the house into a beacon of hope rather than fear. And as for the shadow on the ceiling, it became a tale of caution in Eldridge, a reminder that sometimes, the things we fear are simply misunderstood, yearning for peace. But the whispers in the pines suggest that some shadows linger, waiting for the night to dance again, in the corners of our eyes, where fear resides.